nha.
Chào, hello,
Xin
chào.
chào everyone.
Chào.
Pháp Đàm, mọi người có ai có đăng ký đặt câu hỏi không ạ? 3 tuần không có Pháp Đàm với ông bà Chan. Ai có câu hỏi xin giơ tay ạ. Anh Giao hôm nay có muốn mở màn không anh Giao? Hôm trước cũng
Cô
có
để cho các bạn nhà mình đông rồi.
em chưa thấy ai giơ tay ạ. Anh có thể khởi động trước để sau đó mọi người sẽ có đà.
Ok, cảm ơn cô.
Dạ, để em hỏi xem có Achan không.
Vâng.
Are you there, Achan?
Yes, Sawadika everyone.
Sawadika,
สวัสดีครับ
Achan.
ท่านอาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
Sawadika, Achan.
Very happy to be back again in the discussions with you and John and Sarah after 3 weeks. I think Mr. Zhao can start with his question. Please go ahead.
In Vietnamese first.
Yes.
Dạ, kính thưa Achan, kính thưa cô Sarah, bác John và cô Tâm Bạch cùng cả nhà Pháp Đàn. Thì con có cái sở thích đó, là thích vào Pháp Đàn, nghe Pháp Đàn. Nghe Pháp Đàn không phải Pháp Đàn nào cũng vào, mà cái Pháp Đàn của Việt Nam mình, của Achan. Tức là ở đây các vị chỉ giảng về sự thật chân đế, về các pháp trong hiện tại, và đó luôn luôn là cái thực tình, càng nghe càng thích. Mà mấy ngày nay lại làm cái nghe lại cái vòng sinh tử luân hồi thì thấy cách đây gần 10 năm thì cô Nina cũng chỉ giảng những cái điều mà như bây giờ mình đang giảng. Và như vậy thì cái chìa khóa ở đây là gì? Thì cách đây khoảng 2 tuần thì Achan có đưa ra một cái câu hỏi rất là hay. Cô Achan hỏi là chúng ta đang ngồi đây, như vậy chúng ta có đang học Pháp không? Và Achan nhấn mạnh hiện giờ chúng ta có đang học Pháp không? Và cái câu hỏi này rất hay và làm anh rất là thú vị. Và hôm nay anh muốn Achan giảng lại câu này. Achan, first of all, I would like to say thank you to Achan and everybody. I would like to say about I always interested to hear about the reality at this moment. For a long time ago, more than 10 years, I read the book, The Circle of Birth and Death. And now, Achan and Kusara and Kunchon still teach us about the reality at this moment. And it's always make me feel happy. And more than 2 weeks ago, I heard Achan emphasize and analyze about the question. We are here to learn Dhamma, but Achan asks, are we learning Dhamma now? I think it's make me very interested. We are here, but are we learning Dhamma now? So I would like Achan have me and Vietnamese audience come back to this topic again. Thank you.
Yes, never enough. Again and again and again. Because the truth is that how much understanding of what is now appearing, one by one, the reality which appears as it is. For example, what is seen is used to be something, someone, atta all the time. But in truth, what is there is conditioned to arise and then fall away instantly. to have firm confidence of the truth. This is the ultimate truth. Begin to consider and have more and more confidence little by little. No one can change the way it is. Even Buddha respect the truth of whatever is there. No one. So how can anyone change it or try to change it and try to make it rise? In truth, it's there already. No matter what it's there now appearing, it's there already. So it appears. No one can stop what is now appearing now, but learn to understand the ultimate truth. It's there not as it is, because the rapidity of what Buddha taught, one reality arises, experience what is there, and then gone instantly, uncountable, that which is now appearing. For example, just turn on the television, see from nothing, who are there? Boys or girls or cars or stars and so on. In truth, nothing at all, only different colors arising from one dot to another dot so very quickly. No one can imagine how fast it is. As soon as one closes one's eyes, nothing there appearing. But as soon as just opening one's eyes, all are there. And each unit, each point, each very subtle reality, very, very small, very tiny reality is there, one at a time experienced. Why do we have to talk about the truth again and again? Because it's beyond anyone's imagination. The truth, when it's there, show up as it is to only right understanding which can understand the truth of one reality, because it appears only one. So how can there be more than one object known in a moment? That's why learn to understand what is there in eons and eons ago, life on and on, does not appear, hasn't appeared as it is yet. See, so we live in the world of darkness, of atta, of ignorance, of attachment, and of all kinds of akusala. But they are conditioned to be born at this years of the teaching of the Buddha is still there to be learned, to consider, to understand the truth, to have confidence of the truth. No one at all. Where were you yesterday? Now? Impossible. Or just this morning? Or just a moment ago? All gone. It seems like from this to that, from there to now or here. But in truth, it's only just a moment appearing, continuing, succeeding one another on and on and on and on. So it's the world of ignorance, not understanding the truth. That's why never, no one or anything cannot stop the way Dhamma is. Dhamma is conditioned to arise. But at moment of no understanding of conditions, they seeing, so no one. That's why it's I see. I hear because there's no one at moment of hearing. So hearing is I all the time. No understanding that hearing is just conditioned moment, conditioned reality. It cannot be conditioned to be different from the conditions for its arising. That's all. Thinking about is the I, where's the I after death? As long as it's not death yet, it's there seems like I and my wealth and my friends and everything. But the moment that Chitta, the one moment which sees the being as I, this life. Where were this life when that moment come? See, no one there at all, at all. But before death, there is I, my friend, my family, and so on. Where are they? Without different realities arising and falling away very rapidly from moment to moment and then gone each moment. That's why learning to consider whether it's true, to understand the enlightened one, the truth which is so subtle, hidden from life to life, eons and eons ago, can be understood little by little. Because Buddha taught for 45 years, how many words? So how many realities arising and falling away, never to return at all? That's why even right now, when it's firm confidence of the truth, it's not I, there can be moment of understanding what is there in life now, little by little, only different colors, see? Only different colors seen from moment to moment until what is taken for something, atta, appears as nothing, no one, nothing at all. Is that true? And the Satya Parami, the truth only, can lead to letting go the idea of something, because as it is something, it's the object of attachment. The color, see? If it's just the color, the world of color only, no one at all. But there must be other realities arising, experiencing it by different characteristics, seeing, thinking, liking, disliking, on and on, conditions, different life in this world, my life, my friend's life, and so on. All are Dhamma, conditioned Dhamma, that's all. So to understand more about what Buddha said, it has to be the firm confidence as foundation to understand the meaning of what is said by Buddha about what is there in life, real life, this moment, and on and on. This is moment of studying Dhamma. We don't need to find Dhamma anywhere else to be studied. It's now to be studied. Begin to listen, begin to consider, begin to have confidence in the truth. That's all. Gradually, letting a moment from moment, it let go the idea of ignorance and something there. Is that true? Is at all? Not at all. It's that which is seen. Ignorance of the truth condition the idea of something all the time, even right now. So, just one word, Dhamma. Whatever is there is Dhamma. It has its characteristic to appear to be known. Like sound is a reality. It's known when it's there that it's real. But no understanding that there is a reality which arises to experience it. Otherwise, it cannot appear. And that which hears, that which experiences sound, is not known. That is there only a moment and then gone. And this is Panya Parami, another Parami, understanding the truth, little by little, firmer and firmer, Adidana Parami. And the moment of understanding the truth is the way, is the only way to get closer to the truth, to realize the truth of that which is there very shortly. But even so, It's so very subtle that right understanding begins just closer and closer to it, but not close enough because it has to be 3 rounds of getting closer to the truth. While the truth is right now, each moment, unknown. But each word of truth will develop the understanding of that which is appearing in daily life. Is there any moment, the moment of thinking or understanding, not forgetting what is there as we have heard? Not by anyone, but only by conditions. Be true to the truth of a reality right now, little by little, and then right understanding understands the very subtle attachment and ignorance, whether it's there, to let go. That which is conditioned by attachment and wrong understanding, michatiti, sakkayaditi, I and something all day. Patience, so very great patience to develop the letting go little by little of the atta, something all the time. From life to life, there is the light of the path. What is the way to understand the truth? So now, discussing about on that which is now appearing, no matter what, it's more than anyone can think about it. For 45 years, each word about the truth in life, daily life, and very careful, not I who can do. All depends on conditions, no matter wholesome moment or unwholesome moment. Is right understanding enough to understand no matter what? It's just a conditioned reality. So the letting go of the idea of self, concern about the situation so much, all are dhammas, each different dhammas. What is real is a dhamma. That's all. That's why reading about the truth, hearing about the truth, considering about the ultimate truth, on and on and on. These are different realities, no one at all. Before all can be letting go of something or someone. Atta. What are they? All are anatta, different realities. Just have confidence of the truth. That's all. It conditions more wholesome moments because of understanding. What is there is not permanent. All depends on conditions. Even right now, seeing depends on conditions. Hearing depends on condition. Wise thinking depends on condition. This is the only way to let go the idea of self or atta. Each moment, be patient, khanti, and viriya, and satya, and nekama, see, little by little. Not anyone, no me, no I, no one, no thing, only different realities. Be patient to listen again and again and again. Otherwise, it's time for unwholesome moments.
Thank you, Ajahn. It's really helpful. And the way to consider about Ajahn teaching about the reality at this moment is very important, I think so. Because a few days ago, Hunsara said, now when we think about the characteristic of the seeing and a little, there are a very little understand about the characteristic of the seeing. There are a right way, this a right way. But just at this moment, when we think about how many understand we have, how everything seems mixed up, it's wrong way. But when think about the mix up, the idea about mix up, idea about Huntam translate very nice. Just a reality is appear and fall away by condition, back to the right way. So very difficult. So that's why I think we still here to hear Ajahn, to hear everybody, help us to understand about right way. One more time, I very appreciate Ajahn and the teacher and everybody. Thank you.
And I would like to add a brief comment also following your remarks, Dao, and I appreciate your interest in this subject. So I think we need to keep clear in our mind, firstly, that it is only a reality appearing now that can be the object of awareness and understanding. And I think we're all clear on that point. However, on the other hand, this doesn't mean that we have to be thinking all the time about the reality that is appearing at the present moment. Because if we are doing that and thinking that we need to separate the seeing and the visible object instead of them being mixed up, then that could be a kind of wrong practice. Well, it could be a kind of practice, put it that way. And we know that practice is not what the Buddha taught, because one is trying to sort out the present moment reality. So it's a subtle point, but as the Buddha said, it is hearing the true Dhamma and reflecting on it that are the factors which will give rise to the right kind of reflection on that will give rise in due course to awareness and understanding. Obviously, that awareness and understanding will be of a present moment reality, presently appearing reality. But we don't have to feel that we should always be thinking about what is the seeing now, or what is the hearing now, or what are the realities now, because that is not natural. Obviously, when we are discussing different Dhamma points, there are conditions for thinking about different realities and situations, and that's what's helpful. But we don't need to try and control the thinking. Thank you.
And I just have one comment on your very first question, Sal. You mentioned that Ajahn had emphasized that we are here to learn Dhamma, but are we learning Dhamma now? So everyone can agree that, conventionally speaking, we're here to learn Dhamma. We're not here to eat delicious food. We're not here to meet our relatives. We're not here to discuss shopping. We're here to study Dhamma. But at this very moment, is there any study? Is there any understanding of what appears? So this is the point, because we can sit for an hour or 2 hours hearing about the Dhamma, but what about right now? Is there any understanding of just what appears? Because life is just at this moment, seeing now, hearing now, thinking now. Is there any understanding that the world is just for this moment and then gone? So the true study of Dhamma is not the situation, being in the discussion, opening the book. The true study is the understanding of the characteristic of just what appears, characteristic of seeing, as you mentioned, characteristic of the visible object, the color that is seen right now and then gone. And as Jonathan stressed, this is quite different from trying to understand it, trying to be aware of what appears in the moment, because that is all utter ditty, not the natural understanding. So many subtle points, and that's why there has to be the listening again and again. And as Ajahn was stressing, all the paramis have to develop with understanding, to be truthful to what appears now, for confidence to develop, or patience to develop, so no thought of trying to find a shortcut or trying to be aware. So anyway, thanks, Sal. Very good topic to bring up, and a wonderful reply from Ajahn. So we appreciate it all a lot.
Thank you, Sarah. So, as I already said, I always like to discuss when the question, ask the question and bring up something. But I think now we spend time for all the audience of my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ajahn. And the helpful comment from Ajahn and John and Sarah. And it reminds me of what a few friends have said at our visits to Manly. They thought that for teachers like Ajahn, John and Sarah, life must be very different. Like many moments of awareness of different realities. Yeah, but I think it's very subtle point, like you just stressed. Once we hear about the Dhamma, one easily get the idea that one should be aware of different realities, like seeing and hearing. And that makes life very different from other people's life. It's time to listen more and more and understand all these certain points. And still, I think we always be in either extreme.
We live in the dream world, the fantasy world, imagining what life must be like for the others, thinking about them and us. But what about the understanding of the truth now? It's just thinking now, clinging now, moments of kindness, moments of ignorance. So life always comes back to what is true at this moment. Otherwise, just dreaming about people and things and ideas of utter all the time.
I believe our friends in Hanoi had a discussion about Rupa. I don't know if Zoom and asked the question that you were having with other friends. Ông ơi, em có câu hỏi hôm trước với nhóm đạo hữu Hà Nội về sắc. Em có muốn đưa câu hỏi của em và của mọi người ra đây không? Không biết Dũng có tiện để đặt câu hỏi bây giờ không? I don't know whether our friend had, it's easy for him to ask the question now, but I believe they were having a question on rupas and especially about the kamacha rupas, the rupas that are conditioned by karma. For example, the Chakupasada. And the question is whether the other rupas that arise together with the Chakupasada are only conditioned by karma, or they can be conditioned by other factors as well. Is that right? Right. Okay.
So if a group of rupas is conditioned by karma, it means all the rupas in that kalapa have to be conditioned by karma, not by utu, temperature, not by chitta, and not by ahara, nutriment. So if the chaku pasada, when it arises, it has to only be conditioned by karma. So that means the primary rupas and the other four rupas that always arise with the primary rupas and the jivitindriya rupa and the chakupasada, the 10 rupas altogether, have to be conditioned by karma at that moment when they arise together and when they fall away together. If a group of rupas is conditioned by chitta, it means all the rupas in that group. For example, at the moment of speaking, the sound is conditioned by chitta, and all the other rupas that arise together with it, the 8 rupas that always arise in a klapa with sound, plus vachi vinyati, they all have to be conditioned by chitta at that moment, cannot be conditioned by different causes. They all have to be conditioned by the same one. Is that clear?
Yes, I think it's very clear. Our friends just sent the
for
message that
yes, it's clear. For example, hardness. Hardness can be conditioned by temperature, or if it's in the body, by chitta or karma or nutriment. So it just depends on the group of rupas it arises together with, whether it is conditioned by karma or one of the other factors. But if it is the hardness that arises together with the Chakupasada rupa, then it has to be conditioned by karma at that moment. But the hardness in that group can condition other rupas. The temperature in that group can condition other rupas. And it does condition other rupas. And why do we learn about the details of groups of rupas and how they are conditioned and why this group is conditioned only by karma? It just all goes to show that there are just these different dhammas arising by conditions, falling away instantly. No one can choose to open their eyes. No one can close their eyes. No one can have the Chakupasada rupa arising at will. Each dhamma arises by many different conditions and falls away instantly. As Ajahn was saying, no one can stop the way it is. No one can change it. No one can make other rupas arise together in that group. No one can change the cause of its arising. It's just the way it is. If there are conditions now for karma to condition I sense, it arises and is gone. If there are no conditions for karma to condition I sense, for example, if one's suddenly blind, then no conditions for I sense, all by conditions.
Sarah, for example, if the Chakku Prasada is conditioned only by karma, then people might make decisions to improve their sight. For example, what to make sense of that?
When we say it's only conditioned by karma, of course, it's also conditioned by the primary rupas that it depends on. So all the derived rupas, including the Chakupasada, also conditioned by the primary rupas. But if no karma produces that group, then it cannot arise. Yes, we talk about going to the doctor and having surgery and taking various medicines to improve the eyesight. But these are conventional situations. The actual subtle point or dot, the Chakupasada, is conditioned by karma at this very moment, and the primary rupas that condition it. If no karma produces it, no matter how many surgeries one has, no matter how many vitamins one takes, it cannot arise without karma to condition it. And perhaps Ajahn would like to add more to this on this topic as well.
Shall we talk about just one rupa at a time in order to understand what condition it is? Just one rupa at a time, please. Which one?
Chakku Prasada, Ajahn.
Okay. Well, is it hard?
No, it's not hard.
It's soft?
No,
It's not color, right?
no.
But it's real, right?
Yes.
Even it does
Yes.
not show up, but everyone knows it's there. Very special rupa. So, can temperature condition it to arise? Like the rain or the sunshine, so on. Otherwise, there must be Chakupasada anywhere. That's why Uttu can condition it to arise at all. And what about Citta? Can it condition Chakupasada to arise no matter how much one wishes?
No, cannot.
But does anyone want to have more than two Chakupasada? See, not at all. Just understand that Chakupasada is the special, very special rupa to condition that which now appears, because without it, there's no seeing, which experiences visible objects. And what is karma? Someone might have no understanding of karma at all, just follow. It's conditioned by karma. But what is karma? Is it real? And what does its condition? What kind of reality? See, it's not just talk about the eye base of Chakku Pasada out of the blue, is there? Not at all. But there must be conditions for its arising. What color is it? Blue or brown? Or white? Not at all, right? Jakupasata only. And even the color of it can be conditioned by karma. But the reality, which is the reality that the visible object has to impinge on it, not the color, is Jakupasata. That's why it's there by karma. But what is karma? Kusala karma, akusala karma. What is the reality of karma? See, when we consider the cause and the result, whatever is now is as the result, there must be condition of the cause for its arising. Can it stop it now not to arise anymore? By karma, which has been done. Stop condition the I, Jakupasata, to arise anymore. All depends on the reality, which is its condition. So we learn to understand what rupa is conditioned by karma. To understand that only karma, the deeds that has been done, can condition it, not at will, but by the condition of karma. Whether it's very strong akusala or kusala, the eye of human being, the eye of the angel in heaven, so on. See? But the ahara, the temperature, the chitta cannot condition jakupasada. That's why it's conditioned by karma. And karma is cetana cetasika. Because it's the will to do the wholesome deeds or unwholesome deeds. No one there at all. So, one rupa, which is conditioned by karma, is jakupasada. The other, like the sota pasada, kana pasada, jiva pasada, kaya pasada, are the same, conditioned by karma. So, how many rupas? Learn to understand one by one. To have confidence of Dhamma, ultimate truth. Can
And
the
Tambak, you
yes.
sorry, John, please go ahead.
Can the rupa condition jakupasada?
Uttu cannot condition
But the
Jakupasada.
question is whether can rupa condition jakupasada?
The primary rupas, they condition the Jakupasada like the way they condition other rupas dependent on the four primary rupas.
See, the more understanding of the truth is letting go. The idea of it's me or it's mine, it's only a reality conditioned, arising and falling away, never to arise again. No one. It has to be firm confidence of Dhamma and Anatta all the way. To let go wrong understandings, michatiti and ignorance and attachment to that reality as something, but in truth, nothing. It's nothing. Just arise and falls away, never to return. Without such words, how can there be moment of thinking about the truth, considering about the truth, little by little, to understand the reality as no one at all, and not anything at all. Please go on, Kun Jonathan.
Thank you, Ajahn. I was coming back to Tambak's question, which I didn't quite understand, about Jakupasada and good and bad, poor eyesight, loss of good eyesight. And what was the point you were making there, please, Tambak?
Yes. So Chakupasada is conditioned by karma. And usually many people think that when we take medicine like vitamins and so on to improve eyesight, that means that nutriments and also condition Chakupasada are not totally, but like it can help to condition Chakupasada. But from what we learned, it's not the case. So that's the point I wanted to clarify.
Yes, I think the assumption in the question that you are relaying from someone else, I think, is that when there's loss of eyesight with aging, for example, that this is due to something to do with the Jakupasada being conditioned by karma or not being conditioned by karma. But I'm not sure that's correct.
It can be, that's a good, another good point as well to consider the method.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that the function of Jakupasada is to support the arising of eye consciousness, which it does, even if the seeing is imperfect, not as good as it used to be, for example, but it's still arising. So there's still the Jakupasada there for the eye consciousness to arise and experience the visible object. And the lack of clarity in the seeing may be due to other factors, such as the way the visible data is processed in the mind. Or I don't know the answer, but seems to me that Jakupasada is still performing its function, even when eyesight is not as good as it used to be.
And that Jakupasada is conditioned by karma. And just looking at the question Hai has just raised in a note, which I just saw. So Hai says, I read that the 17 chitta moments of the lifespan of a Chakupasada, the first moment is conditioned to rise by karma, but other moments are conditioned by other factors, but not correct according to Ajahn's explanation. What we're interested in is the Buddha's explanation. So it's not just what Ajahn is saying or I'm saying or John's saying. We're looking at what the Buddha taught. So the Chakupasada, when it arises, it falls away instantly, but that instantly is 17 times as long as a chitta, but it's still so very quick. So it's conditioned by karma. It cannot in the middle be conditioned by different factors. So the rupa arises, it lasts for an instant and it falls away, all by karma. We cannot say that one moment is by karma and another moment is by nutriment and so on. This is not correct. So if a rupa is conditioned by karma, it's conditioned by karma. If a rupa is conditioned by temperature, it's conditioned by temperature. If the sound, like now when I'm speaking, is conditioned by chitta, is conditioned by chitta. It cannot be mix and match, like a bit by chitta and then before it's fallen away by karma and then at the end by nutriment. Not like that at all. Anything, it's difficult for Hai to speak because she's translating.
I think your explanation is very clear. She's nodding her head.
Good.
And back to John's point, yes, I think it's very subtle, and I'm thinking about what it's seen is also conditioned by karma. So it's not just the Chakku Pasada, whether what is seen is something blurred or something clear in conventional way of speaking. Actually, it's conditioned by karma as well. What is seen.
When you talk about something seen, you mean the visible object. So the
Yes.
visible object is never going to be blurred or unblurred. It is just the visible object. So the blurring has to occur at some point after it impinges on the eye base.
Right.
And is experienced by eye consciousness. Yeah, so that's why I'm just theorizing that it's in the mind door processes that follow after that. Yeah.
Agreed.
And it depends on karma, what the eye sense is. Like the eye sense that is conditioned now by karma is different from the eye sense that is conditioned when one's sick and elderly, for example. So it depends on the eye sense that is conditioned by past karma as to whether the object is seen clearly or not. But the seeing sees the visible object just as it is.
And in terms of the visible object, what karma determines is whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. Result of kusala karma. Or sorry, in terms of the object that's experienced, yes. What karma determines is whether the visible object that is to be experienced will be pleasant or unpleasant.
But I think it's because what is seen, it's not something. So is how can it be pleasant or unpleasant? I think that's so difficult to grasp.
Yeah. Well, when you say it's not something, it's not some conventional thing, is it? But it is visible object, just like sound is sound. And sound can be pleasant or unpleasant. And taste can be pleasant or unpleasant. So can smell. And hardness can be pleasant or unpleasant too. Hardness, softness, and temperature. So, because we have a funny idea of visible object, it's sometimes difficult to relate it, to these parameters, but it must be the same for all the objects experienced through the different sense doors.
There are so many visible objects. It depends on which one impinges on the eye sense, and it depends on karma as to whether there is the seeing of the pleasant or unpleasant one, just like there's so many sounds. So which sound impinges on the ear sense, and it depends on karma whether there's a hearing of the pleasant sound or the unpleasant sound at this very moment. It may be a very loud sound or it may be a quiet sound. And who knows at this moment whether it's pleasant or unpleasant sound, but depends on karma as to what hearing arises to hear which sound that has impinged on the ear sense.
We can usually say it's a doubt. What is an unpleasant doubt and what is a pleasant doubt?
Sorry, are you talking about sound now, Tamba?
Visible object.
Oh, visible object. Yeah, difficult.
For example, if it's a very bright object, it may not be desirable when one's outside in the sunlight without sunglasses, very bright color that appears. But usually no idea, and what is seen arises and falls away so quickly. No point in speculating or trying to catch it or try to work it out. And usually we're just lost in the world of thinking because we like this color, we don't like that color, and so on. But this is not the actual rupa that is seen.
We
Or
think
we-
of unpleasant sights as being blood or corpse or something like that, but it has to be different from that. It has to be the visible object being by nature, and that is the minute, momentary visible object being by nature pleasant or unpleasant.
Yeah, Jen will have some comments on this point as well.
Sorry, I just be away for some moment, please. What's the question about?
The question is about the visible object or the sound being pleasant or unpleasant. And I said that it's difficult to figure out how, like the dots, which is the visible object, can be pleasant.
What sees it?
Seeing consciousness.
Only performs a function of seeing it well, but not as it is, as it appears to be different, right? The blue and the red, the yellow and the brown. What experience that to be known that it's different from previous moment, seeing blue color moment, seeing yellow color, different moment. That's all. It just experiences the object, no idea about it at all. Is that right? Just arise to see, experience what it's seen, only that which impinges on the eyebase. That's all, and gone. Each reality has its proper function. Can it know that it's called brown or red? But it experiences the nature, the characteristic, the reality of that which is experienced. Clear. That's all. Are we talking about seeing? It sees. it experiences the object clearer than those Cetasika which share the same object with its own characteristic, not the function of experiencing clearly the object. One moment of seeing gone. And the idea whether it's clearly seen or not, see, it's not the moment of seeing at all. It's just the idea about that which is seen, whether it's seen clearly or not as clear. But no one can change that which is seen by seeing. Is it true? To be truthful to the truth. Otherwise, the truth cannot be realized at all.
No one can change. Yesterday, in the discussion, Achan also spoke about the rupa which are conditioned by karma, finished before the chutti chitta arises. Can you explain about it again, Achan? It was a little bit fast, so it would be helpful if you can speak a little bit more.
About the rupa before
Yes,
death. Yeah.
before death, right?
Yeah. So how long a rupa lasts?
17 chittas moments.
Only that counts. What no way or it cannot fall away before 17 moments of chitta. That's it.
So
And
I
when
think the point, Tambak, is that rupas conditioned by karma will finish falling away at the same time as Juti Citta arises. So that means they must have finished arising 17 Citta moments before that.
Jen also mentioned 10.
10 moments?
Yes,
10 what?
10 moments.
I didn't catch that, sorry.
But other kinds of chitta, like nutriment, the chitta that are conditioned by nutriment and finish later.
I think from memory, because the final Citta process is different, but I have to ask Ajahn to clarify that point. But the principle is the same, that because the rupas conditioned by karma will finish falling away at the same time as Juti Citta, therefore they must have finished arising several Citta moments before that. That's as I understand it.
Yeah, that's how I understand too. And usually karma conditions rupas at each moment, but in this instant just before death, it stops producing rupas several moments before death. So no more kamaja rupas after that moment of death. No more pasada, chaku pasada rupa, no kamaja rupas at all after that last moment of death. And
No more being produced, but still those that have already been produced, not yet fallen away.
but the kamaja ones have fallen away at that moment because karma stopped producing them 17 moments before death. And the chitta conditions rupas at every moment. But so the rupa conditioned by chitta are produced until the last moment. But the last chuti chitta doesn't condition breath, the group of rupas with breath anymore. And after death, no conditions for nutriment to condition rupas. But of course, for the corpse, the rupas of the body still conditioned by temperature. But I would have to check the details too.
Thank you. Such details, anyway, it's pure knowledge, no way to have it appear.
And that's the point. It just shows how anatta it is and how the arising of each rupa, each group has to just be the way it is. It cannot be any other way. I sense all these groups of rupas cannot arise by one's will. When someone is dying, however many vitamins you inject, when it's time for karma to stop producing rupas, it cannot be produced. No one can change it. No one can prolong it when it's time for karma to bring its result. All anatta. But like now, other groups of rupa are in the body are conditioned by nutriment. So taking food and the nutritive essence in the body, or medicines, or vitamins can condition groups of rupas, but the actual I sense is conditioned by karma.
But the body sense, they are all over the body. So the rupa that arise then all over the body as well. So I wonder what is conditioned by nut.
That's why it's so hard to say, and what I'm saying doesn't mean don't take the vitamins, don't go to see the eye specialist, because different groups of rupas conditioned in different ways, very intricate. Like sometimes when seeing visible objects, looking out of the window when it's bright, and it's painful because it's so bright. But this is actually the experiencing of hardness through the body sense. It's not the visible object that's seen when there's painful bodily feeling at that moment. But the different experiences follow each other so rapidly with mind or processes in between. So we can understand more about the intricacy of different conditions, but the main point is the understanding of what appears right now. Visible object, just what is seen now. Hardness, just what is touched. Painful bodily feeling, just that feeling that arises with body consciousness. different from the mental unpleasant feeling through the mind, or so just beginning to understand what appears now. But we can see that the way dhammas are conditioned is very intricate. Perhaps Ajahn would like to add more on some of these points, like the taking of vitamins for the eyes and the other points that you have all raised.
Sorry, I'd like to understand what we are talking about now, the rupa before this, or the what? Sorry, I didn't get it because I was with.
And I think they were bringing up a few different topics, so I'll let Tam bring up one at a time is better. Yes.
Yeah, I think we jumped from one topic to another. So maybe first of all, you can speak a little more about the rupa before death, and then I.
Are we talking about rupa?
The kamaja rupas before death.
Only kamaja rupa, right?
Yes.
All rupas conditioned by kama stop arising 17 moments before death.
Yeah, that's it, right? And what about the rupas that are conditioned by other factors?
Depends on how long it has arisen, but it has to fall away when it's 17 moments of citta gone. It cannot last longer or shorter. That's why the appearance of the face of the dead one can be different by different citta before at the moment of death.
So after death, the corpse that we see are only the rupa that conditions by utu.
Begins to change from moment to moment by uttu, not by citta, not by kamma, not by ahara anymore.
Yes, thank you, Ajahn. And the other topic is about taking the vitamin or improving eyesight, or what way the ocha conditioned the rupa in the body, because we know that there are the body conscious, body senses all over the body, and all the rupas that arise together with the body sense are not conditioned by other factors than dhamma. So my question is, in what way the ocha condition the rupa body?
Can anyone do anything to the body which lasts only 17 moments of citta? Now how many moments? Seeing different realities, seeing so many. So how short it is, 17 moments. So can anyone do anything to any rupa? See, but the change of uttu and ahara, see, can condition what we take for medicine or exercises to condition rupa or condition for better rupa, better condition for rupa, see, little by little. Do we like to have very, very extra or magic or medicine to do something or to help, all by conditions. Utu conditions, utu srupa too. Ahara condition, ahara srupa. But the rupa which is conditioned by karma, nothing can be done. Even the
And Dhamma,
yeah, please.
I'll just interpose briefly. I think, Dhamma, your question is similar to asking, by what condition do antibiotics cure infection in the body?
We call it that, but in truth, what rupa is it? The four primary rupas for sure.
Impossible to really trace the connection by conditionality. And it's nothing to do with the present moment reality either. But we know it happens by experience.
There
But
can
as
be,
to the exact conditions, yeah.
even by utu, the same place, different kinds of fruit trees, see? How come? Without any other conditions. And this rupa is like just the ground to grow, but any rupa can grow on this ground, this area, by different condition, as the tree, the fruit tree, different kinds of fruit, even the same place. Durian, mango, they can grow together in the same place. How come? Utu. Only utu, but the rupa in the body, more than just utu conditions. And we call it different name, antibiotic and so on. Durian, mango, apple. That's why be sure about the conditions. Can that rupa, which is conditioned by karma, be conditioned by utu too? Impossible. But that which arises together with that rupa, see, can be conditioned by utu. But the rupa which is conditioned by karma, nothing can condition it, its arising.
So the pasada rupas themselves are only conditioned by karma, but other rupas that arise together with them can be conditioned by other factors.
Not the rupas in the same kalapa, but other rupas that are rising in the body, other groups conditioned by temperature or nutriment. They can, or chitta can be conditioned in different ways, but the rupas in that kalapa with the chakku pasada has to be all conditioned by karma only.
So little we know about the body.
And we speculate so much, we think, oh, the vitamins and the nutriments is conditioning the chakku pasada, but actually we don't understand anything about Chaku Prasada, because we just think of the conventional eye. And when we think of the conventional eye, it's not the Chaku Prasada Rupa. So that's why there is the appearance that the vitamins or the other kinds of nutriment are helping the eyes, but actually it's the other groups of rupas in the body sense that are being conditioned. Usually everything is mixed up, and the idea of different conditions is mixed up because there's so little understanding of rupa that appears now, like the visible object that appears now. And eye sense isn't appearing, so it's not really understood. But by considering and discussing, we learn a little more. And it just depends on karma at this very moment. The eye sense, which is the condition for seeing right now.
I think it's been a very useful discussion on topic of rupa.
I think this helps us to appreciate that we can talk about what's appearing or likely to be appearing at the present moment, but how or why it appears, things appear the way they do, is another question altogether, which actually isn't necessary to know in order to understand the reality that is appearing at the present moment.
See Azita on the screen. I don't know whether you have any points to raise concerning the topic we've been discussing. Azita, if you have, go ahead. No?
No, thank you. It's very interesting, this discussion.
When painkillers are given and they appear to have the effect of relieving the pain, it's still karma working. Of course, there must be conditioning relationship between the painkiller and the degree of pleasant or unpleasant feeling that's been experienced. But these things aren't explained in the teachings because they're not necessary to know. They don't. The answer doesn't help to appreciate the true nature of the reality of the present moment, I suppose. So it's interesting to think about, but may not lead anywhere useful.
Painkillers
Really
work and
something.
sometimes they don't work.
I'm sorry about something. Could Jonathan, can you help me to give me a English word for the Pali term Anumotana? Can you?
Appreciation the other's good deeds.
I appreciate something.
Good deeds.
Good deeds.
And it's like Jan's example, like the temperature can be given, the same temperature or the same conditions can be given to two plants, and one may flourish and one may die, even though temperature is the only condition for those rupas. And when there's painful bodily feeling, well, this is the result of karma. But the nutriment, the Panadol that is given can be a condition for hardness or other rupas in the body at different moments. So very intricate, different conditions for different groups of rupas.
So painful feeling is the cause or the result?
The result, Ajahn.
Result.
Please.
Always the result of karma, the painful bodily feeling.
And what about the mental painful feeling?
That is the cause that arises with akusala.
Yeah. So what can be less?
The accumulated tendency, the habit of what is conditioned by karma has to be the way it is, but the understanding now can condition a little more kusala, a little more understanding, a little less taking it so seriously, a little less aversion on account of the strong clinging in the mind. The habits that have been accumulated can gradually change. So there's a little more understanding, a little more kusala, even though what is conditioned by karma has to be the way it is, even for the Buddha and the Arahats, for anyone.
See the miracle of understanding the truth. See, less painful mental feeling. And also the cause for the bodily painful feeling.
Less obsession with oneself and one's body and one's problems too. So it can be, the kusala can be a support, because for karma to bring it results, it also depends on other conditions like pakatu upanisya pachya to bring the results. So many different factors involved as to what karma brings what result at this very moment.
Always now. See, is it now? The truth.
The truth is always there, but usually not understood.
The difference is avijja and panya.
Right. It's been a great discussion. Thank you so much, Chan and June and Sarah.
It's helpful for all of us too.
Yes, thank
So
you, Ajahn.